Welcome back, part 5. What we're doing is we're changing the O-rings on these injectors. They're pretty crusty. See, they just fall right apart. They're just so brittle. They're not even cushioning. You can't even really squeeze those. So that's what we're doing. We're replacing all the O-rings on the engine side of the injectors, the block. The O-rings that go into the fuel rail are fine. They're good for moisture. They're not dried and cracked. That's what we're doing currently. They're all brittle. Might as well replace them while you have them all out. Seem to all be breaking anyway. They're not even coming off. They're just snapping. Let's tell it. Just gonna clean up these injectors. They're pretty dirty. Cleaning the edge of this off. Can you see that? Here, let me come over here. We're cleaning the lip here off where it connects into the engine, and we're cleaning the channel that the O-ring sits in. Just give it a good clean before we put it back in, and that's what I'm doing. Alright, now we're looking at the torque in the Chilton's manual. And what you're going to look at is, we're looking at the 4.7. Your intake manifold bolts is 105 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. Super different. Do not make that mistake, or you'll be pulling those bolts out with an easy out. Since we know that, we're going to look at our diagram here for the 4.7 liter engine. And it's going to tell you which sequence to tighten them at. So now we're going to do that. I'll pause real quick. Okay. Well, you can see in the diagram, this is the front of the engine, right here. So the third bolt in will be 102 inch-pounds. That popped. Third bolt up again. 1, 2, 3. That'll be your second. Alright. Let's look at the book. Number 3 is the next bolt up. 1, 2, 3 is your first. And the fourth bolt down is going to be number 3. There we go. Next bolt, same. Fourth up. 2, 3, 4. You be able to see that? There I go, my socket. Fourth bolt, fifth bolt. Should be second one up here. Can you see this okay? Yep. It's going to be the second bolt up over here. That'll be your last bolt on here. This is your last bolt by the firewall. Super hard to see. Get that out of there. It's going to be your last bolt over here, which is your actual bolt. It's not a stud. You can see down there. That's the 8th step in this configuration. Just tighten it by hand to get it going. This last stud over here. We're good? Alright, now we got the intake torqued. What we're going to do is just put a little oil on the O-rings after I put the O-rings on it. That is, which we need to do first. Forgot I didn't do that. Pull this off real quick. I'm sure all my viewers can figure out how to put an O-ring on, but I'm gonna demonstrate it. Here we go. O-ring. And now that we got all the O-rings on the injectors, now we're gonna put a little bit of oil on them to lubricate them. Just so they slip into the engine easily. So you don't tear or rip your new O-rings. It's best to always just replace your O-rings if you have to take out your fuel rail. Better to be safe than sorry. Start a fire or something ridiculous. Or something that costed $7. It's not worth a fire. It's not worth a fuel leak. It's not worth all the stupid things that could have been avoided. We're gonna get the harness out of the way. And you just pop it in. Just push down. Same thing over here. Make sure your harness is out of the way. All your injector connectors. You just push down. And that's why you lube up the O-rings on the injector, because you have to push it down in there and it has to not be screwed up. So from there, put your fuel rail bolts in. And just tighten those. I don't bother a torque spec for these. Just tighten them until they get tight. They're not going to go anywhere. there's 2 on each side of the block. We're gonna remember to put our Schrader valve cap back on. We're just putting our coils back. Put your retaining nuts on the coil. Again, this isn't really something you need to torque down. If you feel the need to, go ahead and do it. Look it up in the book if you want. Online, Google, All Data, Mitchell, whatever you use. I just get them snug without breaking them. All this stuff, and the 4.7 is plastic. And it just needs to hold it. Put your other coils back. And the other side. And your 8th cylinder, that's almost impossible to do. Socket. And we're just gonna tighten them up, just snug. You don't need to put a big amount of torque on these. Just one hand is more than enough. Back here and get a cylinder 8. Just move your PCV line here. Sneak it by. Let's plug everything back in. Alright, you got your plugs plugged back in. Injectors are a little more tough to get at. Especially with the ones that were broken. Some of them had tabs, some of them didn't. Maybe we'll solder on new connections next time we go to pick and pull. Might be a future upcoming video. Make a soldering video. Make sure these are in there tight, that they don't come out like that one just did. Hope you could hear the snap there. They're all kind of messed up, so I'm trying to get all these connected. A little tip, plug your injectors in first. These are messed up. See it anyways with this cylinder. Got your TPS sensor, your IAC, your air intake. Don't forget your coolant temperature sensor, your map sensor, and we'll just double check to make sure all the injectors are plugged in, since they all seem to be broken in one form or another. We'll pull the coolant pipe back, reconnect that. Get your spring clamp over where it needs to be. Put that up top so you can reach it. There, all the vacuum lines are connected. There you go. This is a perfect example of evap in the Dodges. They'll crack over time. This is from your evap hose that goes to your throttle body. See that? It'll crack. All those lines in there. What I do to these hoses is I just get some side cutters. I just chop it off. Unless you want to buy a new hose, you can. I don't. Dodge is expensive. Dorman's crap. And you just work it back on there. kind of wiggle it back and forth till it gets on there. Be careful not to split it. Sometimes you can put oil on it if it helps ease it. A lot of times underneath you need to put a little oil on it. Well, let's start up and see if we get any codes, make sure everything starts up good. What other hose?
Behind you.
Yeah, where's that breather? We're gonna put this breather hose back on before we start it up. You'll definitely get a code. It's okay if we get codes, just not from the work I've done. Just put that back in there. There we go. And they got this clamped off. This piece would go to the stock air breather if you have one. This vehicle has this, so that doesn't have one. Let's start up the car real quick. Sounds like that because this isn't connected to this and we don't have the breather on.